What is going on, everybody? You got Ben, aka Sturkules, here. Thank you for stopping by. I got two exciting things for you today. One, we are starting up a new playthrough on the channel, Pokemon Elevated Emerald. We're going to talk a little bit more about what exactly this is, but I'm going to be playing through the Hoenn region in a way that no one's ever played through it before. And the second big surprise is that I have a big guest here for you, the creator of Pokemon Elevated Emerald, aka Pokemon God, aka Cole. What's up, Cole?
Hey, what's up, Ben? And what's up, YouTube? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Uh, yeah, I guess I'm Pokemon God now.
He is the architect of the new region.
Yeah, that makes you my Jesus. I've sent you down to spread the good word
I
of
love it.
Elevated Emerald.
I love it. And, I don't want to make you nervous, but I do have 18 whole subscribers, so this is a pretty big deal
Ooh,
that you're on the channel. You could literally be
absolutely.
watched by
On this
dozens of
platform.
people.
Wow. Well, it's good to know that I'm gonna have a massive impact here.
Yeah, it's a big
So
day.
no pressure.
So I wanted to have Cole on. He's a good friend. We're in a few draft leagues together. He'll probably tell you a little bit about one of our draft leagues, and hopefully I'll have him on the channel more in the future. But today he's going to just tell us a little bit about the game Pokemon Elevated Emerald that he made. I've got some questions here. So first off, you came up with kind of a backstory for the region. Do you want to tell us that a little bit and tell us maybe even what gave you the idea for the new backstory?
Yeah. So the backstory. I have not changed any of the text inside the game. Uh, I've already been working on it for a while, and so I just kind of wanted to get it out there to people. And editing the entire script for the game seemed like a lot more time and
Mm-hmm.
effort.
Yeah.
But the general idea for my game was the Delta episode in the ORAS games. Um, my brain just one night was kind of like, yo, what if like Mega Rayquaza didn't save the world? Like, what if that meteor crashed? I've done some science classes and like read into meteor impacts and whatnot, and it's just kind of like all the fallout that would occur. I was like, oh well, that would force if it didn't just wipe everything out like the dinosaurs, it would definitely there'd be a big smoke cloud, and so I was like, everything would have to adapt. So that'd probably mean Pokemon changing typings and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of part of my inspiration. And so then the rest of the backstory goes, this is years after the fallout of that. You're a new trainer. The region's starting to get back to normal. But then like Team Aqua and Team Magma are instead insurgent groups because Deoxys, after the meteor crashes, emerges from the meteor, and he's basically the most powerful being in the Hoenn region.
Ooh.
And so the trainer that captures him, also known as Stephen Stone, but more of like an old grizzled Stephen Stone. He's already a steel type trainer. Spoilers: Deoxys is a steel type in my game.
Ooh.
And so he would kind of become more of a like dictator figure. Pokemon doesn't cover a lot of like politics, understandably.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, what if there was like kind of an evil ruler? And so then Team Aqua and Team Magma would be kind of like almost insurgent groups. I was somewhat inspired by that fan game as well.
Good game.
And so that was kind of the general thoughts on that backstory. Is just you're a trainer, you're going through the new region and everything, but then the evil team are more of kind of rebels trying to fight back against the evil dictatorship, but they're not exactly doing it in a the most pleasant manner.
Yeah, I love the thought. Like you kind of get to use your own imagination going in with that, with the backstory in mind, and it does make it seem like it's like this post-apocalyptic Poke world that we're going through, which is really cool. So I'm really excited to see that, and it's cool that you went with Deoxys fitting with this in the Delta episode because usually if a Pokemon has to be the bad guy, they just kind of default to Mewtwo. So this is a very cool different spin on things. So.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
Mewtwo just gets a bad rap.
He does, man. He really every time. So, so the next thing, this kind of goes along with that. But what made you decide to remake a Pokemon game? So, like, is this something you'd kind of always thought of doing? Was making a fan game?
I wouldn't say exactly. This might actually date a little bit on when I started making this, but part of my other inspiration as far as like changing typings and whatnot went back to I think it was a soul link between Shady Penguin and Nappy. So
Nice.
that's where the dating comes in.
Right.
And I think Shady had like a water type Regirock, and then it had like Aqua Jet, and I was like, yeah, that'd be so cool if I
That's
just
dope.
kind of change some typings, like how would that affect gameplay, and even just thinking from a competitive aspect, like how much would everything, like the landscape of competitive change if everything had different typings and whatnot. Um, so that was part of it, and then the other part was I actually had a friend for his church. He was on a mission for 2 years, and I was like, this was pretty early on into the term he was serving, and so it was kind of like I thought it'd be a fun thing for him to, me to finish and have him play with me when he got back.
Mm-hmm.
And then it ended up turning into a kind of a full-fledged project.
Yeah, I remember. I remember when you were making it, and it kind of I think you found out like how much goes into making a game, because I remember you thinking like, yeah, it'll probably be done by the time he's back from his mission. Then it got back, you're like, well, maybe I'll make it a Christmas present, and then it kind of kept going back because there was just so much that goes in that you had to put in work wise. I mean, you were a solo project on this, so.
Yeah, I was, and I mean, once I started, also all these other ideas just kept kind of coming to me of like, oh, I could just make this small change, but then every small change you want to make is another thing you have to learn how to do.
Yeah. So how long did you work on Elevated Emerald? Do you remember when you started it?
I think I started in let's see, it would have been June or July of 2017, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's been a little over 3 years in the making.
Yeah. Because I remember the first time you said something about it, like we were team building for a match, and we were just kind of done. You're like, hey, so you want to hear about this game I'm making? I was like, oh, okay. And you'd already been in the process of making it for a while when I first heard about it. So
yeah,
the work has been put in.
Definitely weird to see it finished.
Yeah. So what was the hardest thing about working on this project? I know you had to learn a lot of new stuff, like even different types of coding.
I mean, the hardest single experience was a couple weeks back. I was pretty close to finishing the game, and then made a mistake that cost me about 4 days worth of coding progress.
Uh-huh.
So, as far as an individual setback, that was probably the hardest one. But I just say in general, keeping with it, the reason why I think this project took so long to make was that, I'd spend a couple weeks on doing it and working, every day on it. And then, I mean, it was a lot of work. And so I would kind of get bored of it and then not work on it for a while.
Yeah.
So I think just keeping with it and pushing to, not get tired. And then, going along with that, I would finish, because I was kind of doing everything in segments. So I was editing sprites in one segment and changing movesets in one segment. And it's really easy, kind of like if you're binge watching a show, to stop watching after the end of a season.
Right.
And then not pick the show back up. Kind of similar idea.
Then you come back, you're like, crap, now I got to remember where I was at.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that on top of the fact that, not to reveal too much about your personal life, but that you work and go to school and play a sport, like that, you don't have a whole lot of free time as it is. So the fact that you did so much probably did sometimes you just got burnt out. Like, I can't work anymore on this.
Yeah.
So I could see that how that would be really hard. But
yeah. Or there's times when school got busy that it just kind of got pushed to the back burner a little bit.
Yeah. And that kind of brings up to the next thing. You talked about different stages of things you did creating the game. So the question is, what is your favorite change you made? But I guess first I should just have you tell everyone what are all the changes you did make to the game. Because you said you didn't do the script, but...
So I didn't edit any... Well, I didn't do very much script editing. There was a few things, I changed names that appear when you talk to trainers in the overworld, but that's about it.
Yeah.
But then beyond that, I made brand new typings for every Pokemon.
Which is easily the most exciting part, by the way.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I agree. It's fun to see old classics in a new light, almost like Alolan forms, except for now it's everything.
Yeah.
So changing the types, I gave everything a new ability, all based on, I didn't add any abilities or moves into the game, but I updated some of it So I gave abilities. I made custom move sets for everything. I edited all the wild encounters, all of the trainer battles around the region, important and otherwise. Um, I edited the color palettes of both the regular and shiny forms of every Pokemon.
Dude, I'm so excited
Uh,
for that.
I think, I think that's most of the list. I might
Mm-hmm.
be forgetting a few things here or there, but
Yeah,
yeah,
so the way I would almost describe it is it's like you're playing a randomizer, but there's a purpose to it being randomized. Like a lot of guys will play randomizers on YouTube and their types and movesets are randomized, but it's kind of just for the fun of it. And this is like they're randomized, but it makes sense because they were affected and had to adapt to a new environment. So I'll give you guys an example of what he means. My favorite Pokemon is Nidoking, and Nidoking is usually a poison and ground with like poison point, and you made it dragon and fighting. Is that right?
that is correct.
With intimidate as its ability.
Yeah, Nidoking's
Oh,
pretty good.
yeah. So made my favorite Pokemon even cooler. But that's kind of the type of change he made, and I think you said it, but I could, just in case you didn't, he used every single type combination within the generations 1 through 3 Pokédex. So some of the types have never actually been used in a real Pokemon game, are being used on this. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I think when you don't include the fairy types and do include just like a single type being like its own entity,
Mm-hmm.
there ends up coming out to 289 possible type combinations between the 17
Sweet.
types that existed in Gen 3.
Yeah.
And so all of those have been used. Um, but then back to your initial question, I think the favorite change that I made was just editing those custom sprites as well as the shiny versions. I did edit down the shiny rate. I think I forgot to mention that. I
Cool.
figured if I was going to edit the shinies, I may as well allow people to see them as opposed to having to spend hours upon hours shiny hunting. I don't expect people to be putting thousands of hours into my game.
Yeah.
Um, but just making that, I'd already chosen the typings for basically everything when I made their sprites. But going through and like trying to figure out how to balance like what looks cool, but like also make it, you know, um, fit with the new typings,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
That's
trying not to just fall back on red and black, which is like a good combination on everything.
which yeah, just always looks sweet. But yeah, given the variety, makes it just that much more exciting. So, and yeah, there's been some guys in our Discord for our competitive league that have been kind of playing it as kind of like the beta testers, and I haven't played it a whole lot yet because I didn't want to be spoiled for when I did it on here. But they've been getting shinies like crazy, so I absolutely cannot wait because there's nothing better than a rando shiny Pokemon. So it's gonna be awesome.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
even with increased odds, it's still a good feeling.
you still get excited, yeah. So, is there a specific Pokemon that you think got the coolest change?
Um, so I think the two that are coming to mind right off the top of my head, I think Gligar has one of the best sprites in the game, and I actually think it's one of the more powerful changes that I made. I think it's going to be very good
Cool.
if people use that. And then I actually think Rapidash has one of my favorite concepts.
Okay.
Um, and so yeah, those are both. Those are probably the two that come to mind. I also, like you said though, Nidoking is great, and then also Dragonite, which I know is one of your other favorites,
True.
also got good changes. I think they both have fantastic sprites, both regular and shiny as well.
Sweet. Yeah, and that's a cool thing. Like something like Gligar is a little harder for it to shine in regular games because in a game like this, it doesn't have Gliscor as its evolution yet. So for things like that, I noticed he made changes to them that still made them able to keep up and or just destroy other things. So very cool. Seeing how the sprites change is going to be exciting. Something you did do with along with the download is I know there was basically a document where you could kind of look through all the types and all the changes. So if you're someone like that who doesn't want to play through it blind, which is completely understandable, he's got that attached to where you can look through all the changes made, and there are a lot. Like you wouldn't believe how much changes he had to make even just for changing the types, which is really cool. So
Yeah, and even beyond that too, I guess I did also do some stat editing, either to make, in Gen 3 there wasn't the physical special split,
Right.
so trying to balance the new typings with the new stats. I tried to do some of that, just to make them more usable. I don't want to make a Pokemon with a 45 base attack at Fire type and then have it not be able to have any good stab moves in the
True.
new game.
True.
But even in editing that too, I also tried to make basically everything viable to use, because as far as like playthroughs go, there's definitely like you can use everything. It's just not always enjoyable to use.
Yeah.
Like those early game bug types.
Right.
So I tried to give everything like a little bit of a buff. I know.
Or at least some sort of niche.
Not,
Yeah.
Not trying to give too much away, but in the first gym, I struggled very much with beating a Dustox.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting.
So.
Oh man, that makes it so fun. Like that anything can be good now. Did I hear someone say? Did you edit Pokédex entries too?
I did, yeah. So everything also, once you catch something new, and it gives you that updated, or that Pokédex screen, maybe give it a read through. Some of them are probably better than others. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I did re-edit all 368 or 386.
Yeah.
Dex entries.
So that's exciting too, because when I catch Pokemon, I start button mashing A until I can nickname it, because I've seen all the entries a million times throughout the games. But new entries, that's even just something else to look forward to. That's pretty exciting. So while we're talking about favorites, did you have a favorite? One I asked is, what are the shiny rates? I think you said you didn't know exactly, just that they were really high.
Yeah, I don't. The way I edited it, I just used like a patch that someone else had made.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing that, I couldn't figure out how to make it, like, how to edit it enough to make it exactly what I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And also, for anyone who's looked into shiny hunting in Emerald, it's really weird.
It's whack.
And so, basically, the way that I would describe it is there's my new game, instead of getting one roll every time you get an encounter, you have like 1,024 re-rolls. So I think shiny odds are quite a bit up, but I can't say exactly like percentage wise.
Yeah. We'll put it this way. If you want to do a shiny lock, you will not spend very long hunting on a route before you get your shiny. So,
especially if you're using like the speed up functions that emulators come with.
Yeah.
I've been able to find shinies in 5 minutes or less a lot of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm absolutely planning to shiny hunt certain things. So, did you have a favorite shiny that you designed?
I really like shiny Deoxys, which you can obtain. You can obtain the shinies of every Pokemon, and every Pokemon is available.
Sweet.
But shiny Deoxys has a nice little homage to my draft league that I run. Our initial league photo was a custom Deoxys that I had edited to be like purple and green. Mm-hmm. So the shiny is kind of based around that.
Yeah. Which I remember when you first made that league a few years ago, which, by the way, that's how we met, is through this draft league Cole created. So Cole just likes creating things. He created a game. He created a draft league. But I've already posted a few videos about the MPDL. It's an awesome league. Great group of guys. But I remember that when we'd first get to the stat page before we were on the Draft League NL site, there was this huge Deoxys that looked really cool, but everyone's like, that's not its shiny. Where did that come from? And so it turns out he'd had that in mind for a while for Elevated Emerald. So pretty sweet.
It was just foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing to the greatness to come. So you've gotten to finally start playing, right, the game?
Yes, I have played up through, I believe, the 6th. I don't think I've battled the 6th gym yet.
Oh, okay.
I'd say I'm about halfway through the game.
Nice.
As far as, like, progress goes.
Yeah, which is good because at a certain point, like probably a week or two ago, you'd released it, and a couple guys on our server were getting to play. And I remember you were kind of just like, man, I made the game and I haven't even gotten to play it yet because I've been so busy. So I'm glad you got to play it.
I put off some like important actual life stuff to finish the game, and then then I had to go finish that.
And then it caught up.
So,
yeah.
before I could actually play the game.
Yeah. So are you doing like a regular playthrough or a Nuzlocke or a shiny playthrough, or what's your strat going for this?
So I'm playing through with a shiny playthrough. I thought it would be a good way for myself since it's been such a long time. I haven't seen a lot of the sprites in a while. So I thought that'd be a good way to like, see everything on the routes, as well as, see their regular sprites. And then I'm kind of nuzlocking. I'm only catching one Pokemon on each route that I can use.
Yeah.
So I'm catching the first shiny I see, but then I'm not playing with any other Nuzlocke rules.
Okay.
Because I figure, I'm basically playing in my free time and I don't need to be super pent up stressed about Nuzlocking right now.
Yeah, the Nuzlocke's for the second playthrough when you need more mileage out of the game.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. So, with that being said, do you see yourself doing any other fan games in the future? Or with having done this, are you like, I did this and I did my time. This is enough?
So I would say if I end up editing any other games in the future, I don't know if I'd take on a task so big again. I think if I do more ROM hack stuff in the future, I'm probably either going to actually finish Emerald or Elevated Emerald and like go through and make all the scripts if I'm feeling, theatrical.
Right.
Or I'll probably do something on a smaller scale, maybe like a Gen 5, like black and white, where, you could only catch the Gen 5 Pokemon in the first game. Maybe doing something like that. Or just...
That's not a bad idea.
On a smaller scale.
Right. So, yeah, and that makes sense because, it's not like life is going to get any less busy. So you got time for what you got time for. So the fact that you popped one game out is pretty sweet. So do you have any advice for anyone who's interested in making a game themselves? Or editing a game, or whatever you would call this? I'm calling it making a new game because it feels like I'm playing it for the first time. So
I would say if you're interested, look into it. Really, I think the two biggest things I would say is try to figure out what all you want to accomplish before you start doing anything. I know personally I didn't take that method, and it probably led to more struggles throughout gameplay making.
Yeah.
Because I would just start making something, and then I'd be like, oh, that made me think of something else that I wanted to do. And so then I just ended up having like a ton of tasks.
Yeah.
And then I would say the other advice is just like keep with it. Even if you're just doing it as a side project, like, come back to it. Because I honestly, there was a time where I was like, oh, Emerald may or may not get done ever.
Yeah.
But now that I've finished it, like, once I could see the finish line, I kind of ground out the end of it. And it's been super rewarding, even just seeing, it hasn't reached, like, a super big fan base, and I'm okay with that. I was kind of just making it for anyone to enjoy.
Right.
But at the same time, like, it's been so rewarding seeing people, like, post messages in a bunch of different Discords and just say, hey, the game's been so much fun, like, or sending me screenshots of the shinies that they've caught and all that stuff. It just feels good to see see people enjoying something that you worked hard on.
Yeah. So, recapping what he said, know what you've got to do. Make sure to space things out if you need to, and just know what you're working towards because the end goal is awesome. Something about this that I think is cool just as how many people have already gotten excited about it, and it's just like a few people. Like, the more people who get to play it, I think we're going to have a lot of fun with it. So, do you have anything else you were wanting to say about the game, or anything you were wanting to plug? I know you made a Twitter for this so people could kind of contact.
So I did make a Twitter just so that if people hear about the game and don't know where to go to download it, or if they find bugs, I can potentially patch those. I know I already patched one bug that I personally found.
Cool.
In some of the code that I made, and then I re-uploaded it, so it should be fixed again. But you can tweet at me at ColeRocket21 if you have any questions about the game or anything else in regards to basically anything.
Cool. Yeah, Cole's a cool guy, so I'm sure he'll always take the time to message back. So I'll definitely make sure to link your Twitter on this below, and possibly to link somewhere where you can download it if that's usable. If not, Cole's Twitter will be on there, and you'll always be able to see from there how you can get to a download link to be able to play this, because you're not going to want to miss out on this game, guys. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I hope that everyone that wants to gets a chance to play it, and that everyone's able to enjoy it.
It's going to be a blast. So this is kind of just an opening thing for you guys to get some background. I wanted to make sure to shed a bunch of light onto what Cole did, because he seriously put so much work into this, and I believe that if someone works hard, they should be, people should see that. They should see everything that went into it. So that's going to be my next upload after this, is going to be me getting into the game. And as I play through it, I can't wait to experience more, but just make sure to go show Cole some love on his Twitter. If you play it, tell him how much you love it. Share your experiences. If you do a playthrough, I'm sure he'd even love to see you showing him some of what happens on your playthrough, so he can kind of connect with everyone who's playing it. So.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Cole, my man, thank you for being on the channel and stopping by and doing this video. Like I said, you're getting almost 20 subscribers worth watching this, so it's a huge deal.
Hey, well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man.
It's always good chit-chatting with you, and I hope that you enjoy your playthrough of the game. I'm sure I'll be hearing all about it.
Yeah, man. I can't wait to have you on the channel again. But we're going to hop off here, so thank you guys for watching. Have a great day, and peace.